In Philadelphia, firefighter Cooper takes his daughter, Riley, to a concert as a reward for her good grades. Outside the venue, they join a crowd of excited teenage girls watching Lady Raven, the singer, step off her tour bus. As they wait in line to enter, Cooper notices an unusual number of police officers around. Inside the venue, the heavy police presence catches his attention again, with officers stationed everywhere. Cooper, Hamilton, to identify themselves. After finally getting Riley her t-shirt, Cooper uses Jamie's keycard to sneak into the employee break room. Inside, he finds several cops reviewing the details of their operation. They agree that if they spot the butcher, they need to apprehend him away from civilians. Things escalate. A man's scream echoes from the entrance. The officers rush toward the commotion, where other police are arresting someone. Cooper's blood runs cold when he sees Josephine among them. Back in his seat, Cooper discreetly puts in an earbud and tunes into the stolen police radio. He learns that the man they just arrested wasn't the butcher but a panicked thief who assumed the cops were after him for another crime. As officers walk through the crowd looking for another suspect, Cooper hears a description being broadcast, a white male in his 30s with an animal tattoo on his right arm, exactly like Cooper's. Thinking quickly, he grabs a bracelet from a nearby girl's bag and slips it on to cover the tattoo. After checking the venue map on his phone, Cooper tells Riley that he forgot his credit card at the t-shirt stand and leaves again. As Cooper listens to the police radio, he hears that the FBI is setting up tents around the building and installing barricades on the main streets. He briefly considers pulling the fire alarm to create chaos, but notices a security camera trained on him. Worse, Josephine is heard on the radio, predicting that he might try such a trick. Thinking quickly, he sneaks into a burger stand and sabotages the fryer. After he leaves, a worker checks the fries and discovers 2 bottles floating in the hot oil. The bottles suddenly explode, causing panic among the customers and diverting the attention of nearby police. While the chaos unfolds, Cooper grabs an apron and blends in, making his way to the roof. There are officers there too, so he claims he needed some air after the kitchen incident. The officers confirm the situation via radio, but still ask him for the secret code. Cooper confidently replies, "Hamilton." Despite his answer, they demand to see his employee card. Fortunately, he finds a wallet in the apron's pocket, complete with a venue ID, which satisfies their suspicion. Before leaving, Cooper casually inquires about Josephine, and the officers mention that she's a seasoned profiler known for catching serial killers. Back downstairs, Cooper spots the injured kitchen worker, her face marked by severe burns, with a hallucination of his mother standing beside her. Shaking off the vision, he rejoins Riley, who's growing increasingly concerned about his strange behavior. Cooper explains that Jodie's mom had cornered him again, but Riley reassures him, saying she's finally made friends with the girl sitting next to her and no longer cares about her old classmates. As they return to their seats, Riley excitedly tells Cooper that this is the part of the concert where Lady Raven picks a girl from the audience to join her on stage and tour the backstage. Seeing a potential escape route, Cooper approaches one of the crowd handlers and tells a heartfelt lie that Riley recently recovered from leukemia and that Lady Raven's music was her inspiration. The police are edging closer to their spot, but to Cooper's relief, his story works, and Riley is chosen to go on stage. Both of them receive backstage passes, and the handler coordinates with a nearby cop to let them through. Riley, though nervous, steps onto the stage when Raven calls for her. Cooper watches his daughter's moment of joy, trying to relish it while ignoring the looming threat of police all around him. In the audience, Jodie and her mom seethe with jealousy at Riley's big moment. After the performance, Cooper notices a girl nearby collapsing and instinctively picks her up, asking staff for a place to let her rest. This earns him and Riley entry backstage, just as Josephine closes in on his last location. Cooper helps the sick girl calm down, offering her some juice. Grateful for his assistance, the concert manager allows them to watch the rest of the show from a prime spot next to the stage. Cooper, sensing an opportunity, asks the concert manager if they can leave through the backstage door to avoid the crowd. The manager agrees. However, after the concert ends, Cooper hears on the police radio that every male leaving the venue will be thoroughly checked. When he tries to slip out with Riley through the backstage door, he realizes it's also blocked by police. In a nearby room, Cooper overhears Josephine telling Lady Raven that the venue security cameras have captured photos and data of every attendee. Growing desperate, Cooper approaches Raven and asks to speak privately about Riley's condition. Once inside her dressing room, Cooper drops his facade and confesses that he is the butcher. He shows Raven a live video on his phone of Spencer, his latest victim, trapped in a cell. Cooper reveals a button that, if pressed, will release carbon monoxide into the cell, killing Spencer before the authorities can reach him. He threatens Raven. If she cooperates, Spencer lives. If not, he dies. Faced with no choice, Raven agrees. Raven then informs the police that Cooper and Riley will be leaving with her in her limousine, allowing them to bypass the security checks. At the main entrance, Josephine grows increasingly frustrated as the crowd is delayed by the meticulous screening process, but no butcher is found. During the limousine ride, Cooper instructs the driver where to drop him off so he can pick up his car. However, Raven unexpectedly asks Riley if she can visit their home. Thrilled, Riley calls her mom for permission, leaving Cooper no choice but to smile and give the driver their home address instead. When they arrive, they are warmly welcomed by Cooper's wife, Rachel, and their other child. As they all head inside, Cooper discreetly reminds Raven that Spencer's life still hangs in the balance. Any attempt to betray him, and Spencer will die. Over coffee and cake, Rachel excitedly asks Raven how the concert went. Keeping her cool, Raven describes the police operation to catch the butcher, explaining that the FBI found a receipt for a concert ticket in one of the butcher's fake houses, which prompted them to contact her and set the plan in motion. Josephine has been studying the butcher for some time and concluded he's a white man in his 30s or early 40s, holds a position of authority, drives a dark-colored car, possibly due to OCD, and has a troubled history with his mother. Cooper grows uncomfortable as her profile hits eerily close to home and suggests it's getting late. Raven, however, offers to play a song on the family piano and invites Riley to sit beside her, using the moment to steal her phone. After finishing the song, Raven suggests they take a selfie, but when Riley can't find her phone, Raven hands her Cooper's instead, taking it from his hands. Once the picture is taken, Raven asks to use the bathroom, locks herself inside, and quickly starts rummaging through Cooper's phone. As Cooper pounds on the door, his family grows suspicious of his frantic behavior. Raven manages to contact Spencer, asking him to recall details about the location. Spencer describes the door's color and a nearby statue, which prompts Raven to begin a live stream on her own phone, sharing Spencer's clues with her followers. Soon, someone recognizes the area and contacts the police. Raven also instructs her driver, waiting outside, to call the cops. Meanwhile, Cooper's phone locks again. Raven suddenly shouts that Cooper is the butcher, hearing strange noises and screams from the other side of the door. It swings open, revealing a visibly shaken Cooper. He grabs his phone, checks on Spencer, and realizes he's gone. Cooper then drags Raven to the garage, retrieves his crime bag, and shoves her into Rachel's car, confirming Josephine's theory about his vehicle. Raven tries to calm him by speaking in a motherly tone, but Cooper isn't fooled. He declares that Raven will be his final victim before he ends his own life to stop the monster. As he opens the garage door, he is stunned to find his family blocking his way. Though he had locked them in Riley's room, he overlooked the window and the tree nearby. Shocked by the collision of his two lives, Cooper hesitates just long enough for Raven to escape from the car. As the police arrive, they escort the family to safety while Cooper rushes to his closet to move a few items. Raven gets into her limo, now driven by a police officer in place of her usual chauffeur for her protection. However, when the officers storm the house, they discover a hidden tunnel in Cooper's closet that leads to the neighbor's yard, allowing him to escape. Moments later, the limo comes to a halt, and the cop enters the back seat, handcuffing Raven to a metal bar. Shockingly, the officer reveals himself to be Cooper in disguise, having slipped out of his house in a police uniform. He resumes driving, informing Raven that he's taking her to one of his secret hideouts. Intent on killing her, a desire he's harbored since seeing her on stage. At a red light, Raven seizes the moment, rolling down the window and shouting for help, urging bystanders to call the police. A crowd quickly gathers, surrounding the limo and preventing it from moving. As Cooper realizes his wife left clothes in the car, Raven struggles with her handcuffs, managing to pull the metal bar loose. She bolts from the vehicle just as the Rael police arrive, causing the crowd to scatter in fear. The officers open fire on the limo, but when they inspect the wreckage, they find it empty. Cooper had slipped into the crowd, disguised in a hoodie. Later, Raven is taken to one of the crime houses, where she thanks one of her followers for their help and checks on Spencer, who has been rescued. Meanwhile, Rachel returns home after dropping her kids at her sister's, despite Josephine's insistence that she should be hiding as well. Rachel refuses to leave, wanting to be there. After placing officers outside for protection, Josephine departs. Rachel watches the security footage of Spencer's kidnapping while making herself some tea. As she stands there, she's startled when Cooper sneaks in, having entered unnoticed. Cooper, suspicious and enraged, accuses Rachel of setting him up. Reluctantly, she admits it. Weeks ago, Rachel began suspecting Cooper was having an affair, but soon realized it was something much darker. His clothes reeked of hospital cleaning chemicals, and one day, she witnessed him lie so convincingly to a neighbor that it sent chills down her spine. Driven by suspicion, Rachel followed him to one of his secret houses and left behind a ticket receipt, later calling the police anonymously, hoping they'd find evidence. Angered, Cooper takes off his shirt due to the smell, grabs a knife, and prepares to attack. Thinking quickly, Rachel distracts him by offering him a slice of the pie Riley made, reminding him that today was supposed to be a day of celebration. Cooper agrees to eat, watching Rachel take a bite first. As he eats, he begins explaining how killing usually brings him peace, but Rachel's actions have only made him furious, prompting him to want to kill her before ending his own life. Suddenly, Cooper feels dizzy and realizes too late that Rachel had found the sedatives in his crime bag and added them to the pie. As he struggles to stand, he hears his mother's voice and sees her standing at the door, calling him a monster. Overcome with emotion, Cooper breaks down in tears and tries to approach her, only for the police to surround him and tase him. Enraged, Cooper leaps at one of the officers, knocking him out, but before he can attack another, Josephine arrives with a second taser, and together they subdue him. As Cooper is handcuffed and dragged out of the house, he asks for a moment to pick up Riley's fallen bicycle. Just then, the police bring the kids home, and Riley runs to hug her father one last time before he's taken away. In the back of the police truck, Cooper grins and reveals that he stole a spoke from Riley's bicycle, using it to unlock his handcuffs. He begins laughing maniacally as the truck drives off. Later, Jamie sees Cooper's face on the news and panics, horrified to realize he had unknowingly helped a